right. Well, I mean, it's the first series, but
yeah, I meant like him against Creator. Like that hasn't been reported.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, it would be. But speaking of reporting, this is the map that you want to do your reporting on, because there is a phenomenon going on. Like, there is the Death Aura LE. LE, of course, standing for Lost Engagement. Lost Engagement. That's when you realize you have to retreat. In the bottom right-hand corner, map spawning all the way in the bottom right-hand corner, the Blues player coming out from the district of DongRaeGu in Busan. He is going to be the player who blesses the range down under. Representing Africa Freaks, we have DongRaeGu.
And spawning in the top left-hand corner of Death Aura LE, we have the South Korean Terran player, the Red Terran. He just 2-1'd his opponent in Solar. Can he do so again? Can he take out this other South Korean Zerg? We have ByuN.
All right. So, DongRaeGu, he likes to play a bit different from Solar, doesn't he? He's still pretty diligent when it comes to scouting and checking his proxy locations, but when I think of DongRaeGu, I think of the player who, you know, he wants to take map control. He wants to be more active compared to Solar, who is a bit more of a... He's a bit more of a, I'm going to play more straight-up defensive, reactive kind of style.
Yeah, and because of that, like the army composition of Solar really suited that. Like he just goes for, or he goes for Lingbane Hydra into Lurker, which is a little bit more defensive, at least until you max out, then you can start being aggressive across the map, which is very much so what we saw with Solar. We'll see what DRG does. You know, we've spoken about it before. In this matchup, DRG, he usually favors Mutalist play, Spire play a little bit more.
Yeah. Has been known to do that quite a bit ever since the early days of StarCraft 2, and definitely in this year, I feel like he was basically the standard bearer for the Muta comeback in ZvT. ByuN, not skipping a Reaper this time, knows that he's up against a very different opponent, so we'll look to get a bit of scout out.
Yeah, this is interesting. The fact that Reaper, I mean, ByuN never made a Reaper against Solar. Like that was just not a thing that he did. But against DRG, a different opponent, he has a different style of play.
Yeah, he can't quite metagame, at least not in game 1. Maybe as the series goes on, ByuN will decide, oh, okay, I'm just gonna gamble, but not quite yet. Unable to really get to the main base, but I mean, he sees it as a pretty standard opening so far.
Yeah, definitely, and honestly, ByuN is playing standard. This is very standard coming up from ByuN. Like he went for the Reaper opening, he's going for the third CC before Starport. Like this is like he was so much more aggressive against Solar. It feels like ByuN is maybe a lot more confident against DRG just to play straight up, play a more regular game.
It definitely seems that way. I mean, yeah, I'm not sure what it is. I mean, maybe ByuN just really didn't want to let Solar get to the point where he would be able to get into the late game and just really tech up that quickly, so he decided to be more aggressive. But whereas against DRG, he is, he knows that DRG is more of a, he's not one to really rush his tech that quickly.
Yeah, definitely. It's just interesting to point out how ByuN, he's basically treating players differently. He's playing differently, like depending on who he's up against. Like that has a factor that goes into how he approaches the game, and we'll see what he's able to do here. As again, pretty standard opening. You know, getting a stim. There's no like fast armor or anything crazy like that.
And we're just gonna be waiting for a little while before other players. While both players really just build up here. This is about as standard as you can really get. ByuN getting the base, you know, making sure that he's got just about whatever he needs done. DRG going for the Baneling Nest.
Yeah, I'm honestly, the one thing that's peculiar to me is that I'm surprised that DRG hasn't scouted at all. He's literally hasn't seen anything. Like, he hasn't seen the natural, he hasn't seen the main. The only thing he's seen is the 2 Hellions and the Reaper, which I guess you can deduce a couple of things, but now finally he sends a Ling in, so he does see the Marines at least. But yeah, up until now, DRG has been very, very much so in the dark.
And we'll see if he can get away with it. As for now, I mean, yeah, I'm not sure what else to really put it. I mean, it's a bit of a gamble, but not one that's really affecting him too much right now.
Yeah, exactly.
He's
like
still getting away with playing how he wants to.
Exactly. Like, he's just been journeying up this entire time. He's just kind of journeying. He's getting a 4th base up and running, getting a macro hash as well. This is signifying that he is looking to go very Ling Bane heavy, very it's a very larvae expensive composition. I'm waiting to see the Spire being thrown down, and on the flip side, like ByuN as well, he's just kind of been slowly macroing up.
The Spire. What if he's doing it and pulling a Dark?
Oh, he could be pulling a Dark. Nope.
Never mind. That's a Spire.
Never mind. This is not Dark. This is DRG. We have confirmed. He is going Mutas. That's what he does.
But he's gonna be skipping Mutas. He got the Spire so he can get the greater Spire when he gets a hive. No, probably not.
We'll see. Again, DRG, he is lacking a lot of vision here over on the right-hand side. Like, there's no overlords, there's no creep, there's nothing. It's gonna be so anticlimactic if, like, these Marines, they just come in, they stim, they kill the base. it's like there's nothing, there's like barely any creep here. Like, the Ling Bane is ready for a drop.
He does have a decent connection between his bases, but you are right. This is little bit worrisome for DRG. He's got plenty of army, but he is still going to be bleeding out a little. And drops into the main.
Yeah, and it looks like there wasn't enough room to pick up all the Marines, so a couple do get left behind. He does drop into the main base, but the Lings, they do get up in here looking to try and deal with this. Baneling slowly walling in, but Bane speed does kick in.
Yeah, right at the end here, ByuN picks up just about every Marine. Will be able to make it out. Not too much damage being done here, but it does sort of put some pressure on DRG, make sure that he's not, they can't tech up too comfortably. Now that 10 Mutalisks are coming out, though, that should just about be the end of the drops coming out from ByuN.
Yeah, definitely. Like, we do have a couple of Marines out here to the north, potentially going in for a drop, but there are plenty of Queens in position. There was even a Spore earlier, which I believe did get taken out, but there are Lings ready, and yeah, we're just slowly macroing up, and part of me feels like, I don't know if ByuN is doing this intentionally, like whether it's because of the player he's up against, or maybe because like the last series was so intense, like he wants to slow things down a little bit. But we'll see if he can keep up, because DRG finally has his Mutas out.
Indeed, he does. ByuN was prepared for it. Thinking some pretty good turrets in position, but not quite for this line of supply depots. That's absolutely key right now for ByuN to make sure that he has the supply, because he wants to be able to parade push as well as he can. Really beautiful connection there with the Banelings, and with that, ByuN, he's got a lot of momentum behind him. He is looking to push.
Exactly, like there are only a handful of Banelings left for DRG. If ByuN is able to focus fire, if he's able to get the best connections possible with his Widow Mines, then he's just gonna snowball from here, but ooh, it does look like he's forced to pick up.
Yeah, DRG splits really well. This boost just wears off right in time for these Marines to drop out.
Yes, it does, but yeah, there's plenty here, so we'll get cleaned up, not before losing. Oh my god, a nice target fire on those Mutas. Yeah,
ByuN really trying to make sure they had an escape plan, but just barely not making it out of there.
Yeah, exactly. Everything got cleaned up in the end. Meanwhile, we do have the reinforcements meeting up here outside the third base. There are still a couple of Widow Mines remaining from the previous push, but this time there's plenty of Lings, there's plenty of Banes, a handful of Mutas. It looks like DRG should have enough, but there are more and more rallying across the map.
There are. ByuN is looking to parade push. He has got a lot more army supply, but one good Baneling connection. That's all DRG really needs for this super Marine-focused army. A couple of Marauders out here, so potentially can tank a little bit of splash damage here, and the Thors definitely help out a lot against the Mutalisks.
Oh yeah, definitely. This time the Thor does have a place in this army, and maybe we'll see a couple more sprinkled in throughout, because they help so much against these Mutas. Not if they get caught out though. Yeah,
I really don't want to get surrounded by the Zerglings, funnily enough. But ByuN is keeping attentive, making sure that he does have his Thor covered by some Marines. Opening up some attack paths just to make things easier. Meanwhile, DRG with a run by up north.
Yeah, big run by. There is a planetary at the 4th base.
They
It looks
can catch
like
a Thor!
Oh, they get a surround on the Thor.
And with that, Thor actually holding up a little bit better than I really expected.
Yeah, but it did go down in the end. Really nice pick off by DRG. This is going to help so much when it comes to his mutas. Being able to harass is a lot less anti-air out on the map than ByuN would like. But there's still plenty of missile turrets. Ooh, but it's not in position to be repaired by the SCVs.
Yeah, we're starting to get to the point where DRG, he is getting almost a critical mass of Mutalists, to the point where he really doesn't mind sacrificing a couple of them if it means that he can, get some supply depots here, get some worker kills. He is not afraid of missile turrets anymore. The Banelings are caught out.
Oh, are the Banelings caught out? They are trying to connect as best they can. Looks like they do take out 2 Widow Mines, but that was a lot of Banelings. And now, because of that, the Baneling count was essentially, not quite reset. There are a couple of reinforcing Banelings here for DRG. He is maxed out, but so is ByuN.
Yeah, it really comes down to who has the better engagement right now. And this is a huge choke point right now, which typically I wouldn't favor a Terran player in, but it is ByuN we're talking about. He knows exactly when to back away, when to really split his army, and how to position his army. So we'll see. Hiding in middle mines, which I really love. Really good connection. And now DRG is fighting off creep, but the Marauder's taken out. The Thor is down. Oh, the reinforcements though from ByuN.
Yeah, honestly, if ByuN kept pushing like these were the final remaining Banelings for DRG, he's panically, he's trying to make as many more as he can to try and hold on. But in the end, ByuN, he does back off. He's rotating around to the southern side, and that's exactly what DRG wanted.
Banelings! Get a beautiful connection going on over there, and is that going to be enough momentum for DRG to continue pushing here? So many of his Lings are still alive, and they're looking to get us around.
Exactly, but again, it's just pure Lings at the moment. The Banelings, they are trailing behind. It looks like they will meet up with the rest of the army.
And DRG taking this fight off a creep and will be forced to back away, but not before taking out a lot of ByuN's army. This CC, absolutely key right now for ByuN, as the rest of his bases are starting to get mined out.
Yeah, this is honestly pretty scary, because ByuN, he had everything out on the map. Like, he doesn't really have anything at home to defend against the mutas, and the mutas are getting out of control, sniping out the missile turrets, but the repairs were just good enough.
Yeah, just about. But DRG, I mean, losing a Mutalist here and there, he can totally afford that. Now he's even getting Chitinous Plating or Chitinous Plating because he wants to transition into his Ultralisk play. Realizes that ByuN doesn't quite have a Marauder count, doesn't have any ghosts out.
Oh, that he does not. But you know what? The splits, they were pretty decent, but there's just so much more on the ground to back up this army. Oh my god.
Oh, I thought that was going to be the most devastating surround ever, but ByuN does manage to get away from that. DRG still fighting really, really strong, making it so tough on ByuN to push in.
Yeah, definitely, but ByuN, he's just continuing to apply pressure here, taking out more and more creep. The queens are a little bit exposed. DRG, he sends his mutas across the map, wants to try and divert the attention of ByuN. Does DRG have enough on the ground to stop this push? He may have, as we do have...
Yeah, I think if he can split against the Widow Mines well enough that he should be able to deal with this push coming up from ByuN, but we will see. We'll see. Alright, Bailey's starting to get in. Oh, I don't think that was a manual detonation, but whatever that was. Bailey's taking out most of the Widow Mines, but that one mine shot light took out so many Banelings from DRG, and now ByuN, he's got a lot of momentum going in. He is pretty deep on creep, so he's not feeling too confident when it comes to, splitting his army or getting some target firing down, but there's just not quite enough for DRG. He's got to buy himself some time, and it looks like he's bought himself that time that he wanted to. But the splits from ByuN, though.
Yeah, the problem is that DRG, he was forced to fight there. He didn't want to, but he has to because his evos are so exposed. He can't let 3-3 be denied, so he pushes in. But you know what? It's just Lings. It's just mutas that were no more Banelings.
Carapace got taken out. These Ultras are going to be that much weaker, even with Chitinous Plating. GG is called. ByuN taking that game despite all of the harass and all of the map presence CRG had.
GG. And you know what? I think there are a couple of things holding DRG back. As, oh my god, look at that APM. DRG, I believe there was a moment there where he had like 107 drones. Like he was maxed out, but he had so many workers.
I was wondering why his army supply was so low.
Oh god.
Oh wow. That was a game. That was a game.
Indeed it was, and we're going to be getting ready to get into game number 2. But again, yeah, like DRG, so often he just didn't have the supply. Like he was 200 supply, but again, he didn't really have the army supply that he needed. And again, I'm sure he would have loved to have, you know, just backed off and not really engaged with ByuN's army. But because the Evas were at the 3rd, and that's exactly where ByuN was, like he had to protect them. Like 3-3 was so close to being finished. Like if they were forced to be reset, like that would have been such a huge loss.
Really would have. Absolutely massive. But in the end, I mean, it is, as you said, you know, it wasn't ideal for DRG to fight there, and he took a chance, but not quite working out for him. And we do have a couple of updates here. Unfortunately, we will not be able to intro special, as time is ticking out 2-0, make it to semifinals. Meanwhile, on the other side of the bracket, Rogue going to be the other semifinalist, taking out Dream 2-0. And as we wait to see which player is going to be continuing on to the semifinals, I believe to face Rogue, yeah, not the one to face Time. We are now going to be deciding that potentially on Pillars of Gold, LE, holding up the Holden, Massachusetts. We're here in the bottom left-hand corner of the map, swinging all the way into the bottom left-hand corner. We have the Blues player coming out from Busan, right off the coast of the ocean, representing a freak of freaks, blessing the raids down under. And Light, are you free? DRG. You see what I did there?
I see what you did there. I see it. And spawning in at the top right-hand corner of Pillars of Gold LE, we have the South Korean Terran player, the one-man army himself. He is up 1-0 in this best of 3. He doesn't even need a team. He is teamless. He is ByuN.
I still have this, like, fantasy of mine. It's a fantasy of mine that I think of, right? Where I think, you know what? If I ever become rich, what I want to do, I want to make a movie.
Okay.
And that movie is basically going to be a dramatized version of ByuN from the start of his Wings of Liberty days, when he gets his puppy and all that, and it ends. And, you know, it's going to follow him with his, like, you know, his anxiety issues and whatnot, even maybe his risk issues as well, until suddenly in 2016, coming back, it's going to culminate either with his GSL win or his BlizzCon win. Title of the movie, ByuN Man Army.
There is so much documentary potential, like especially compared to the others that we've seen come out. You know, I can't remember what they're called, but there's the Smash documentary, there's the Dota documentary. Yeah, like there's so much potential with ByuN, like because his story just wrote itself.
I mean, even in StarCraft, we had a State of Play. The initial one with Jaedong and Impact, if I'm not mistaken, and then the second one about MVP. It's about time we got one on ByuN, I think. And
yeah, hopefully one day. I think the hardest thing is like the hardest thing is like gathering. Yeah, like gathering footage from all of that and like getting the rights to use footage from other people if that's the way you have to go about it and things of that nature.
I'll have to go through Afrika and be like, hey, can we use like your stuff?
Yeah. Unless there's like someone who like more like fan footage or behind the scenes footage, it's hard to say. I know, like, for example, like Fear Dragon has a bunch of footage of players that he hasn't used, for example. He just hasn't had the time to edit it, but yeah.
One day.
But
till then, we're gonna have to be content with, you know, watching ByuN play in the ESL Open Cup.
Pretty much, and so far, once again, you know, ByuN, he didn't skip the Reaper. He went for a more standard opening.
Yeah, really, you know, paying DRG the respect that that he's due in a sense. Really making sure that that DRG doesn't pull one over him.
Yeah,
He's able to respond.
Speaking of ByuN, if you recall, he did this opener versus Solar. You know, we were talking about the like 2-on-1 or something like that, but no, it's 3 Vaxes.
Yeah.
Before Starport.
Indeed, it is. Now I think the overall strategy is still pretty much the same here. When you're going to go with this build, you want to go up, push out with Marines, with Stim, and with your Medivacs out. But differences this time, you have combat shield potentially.
Yeah,
I haven't analyzed like what the other differences are.
Yeah. I mean, from what I saw, there's going to be a lot of Marines pushing out across the map. They are going to be pushing out without the Medivacs. The first 2 Medivacs are going to be meeting up with them across the map. They're just going to boost and try and kind of line everything up. So this can hit hard. Of course, last time Solar kind of swatted it away, but DRG, he's a completely different player. We'll see if he's familiar with this, if he's going to have enough, because again, just like the previous game, he just hasn't really gone for much scouting at all. Only has a Ling out here just to see the natural, and even then.
Which is pretty worrisome. I mean, when Solar was able to deflect this, it was still with a bit of scouting going on, right? It was still with, you know, I see what you're going for, and incidentally, my build also has been going in a decent way that I can defend against this, so I'm just gonna make a couple of minor adjustments here and there, and should be good to go. And DRG, you know, kind of there. Baneling Nest is on the way, 1-1. It's gonna be there before ByuN's.
Yeah, he's got Lair on the way. He has 1-1 double Evos. He's got his Baneling Nest, but here we go. The Marines are pushing out across the map. He did leave his Hellions at home to defend against the run by, but is it gonna be enough? Ooh, with the reinforcements, just barely.
Yeah, apparently those are some really good use of the splash damage coming out from the Hellions, really maximizing that. And as you said, the Marines coming down, final nail in that run by Coffin. Really good delay here on the 4th base, and this is a lot of creep that ByuN, I mean, he's just having a field day.
Yeah, that's a lot of creep going down. Meanwhile, the Banelings did just finish up, so he is morphing in 2 Banelings defensively. Will that be enough? We do have the Marines stimming in for ByuN.
Yeah, I feel like with 2 slow Banes, especially against ByuN, you really have to do a lot to try to make as much visual noise on the screen here to distract your opponent. Really make sure that he's unable to target fire those 2.
Yeah, definitely. We do see DRG. He's getting ready for the drop into the main base. He has as much anti-air as possible here. Meanwhile, just Lings and Banes to defend the 3rd base location. And we see DRG. He's sneaking away to the bottom right and expanding, taking his 4th.
Yeah, and I do really like that. ByuN does not have an easy way of getting there. And DRG, I thought he was going to go for a flag, but actually going for a run-by.
Oh, he is going for a bit of a run-by. Meanwhile, this is ByuN's cue to stim on in, but he has to be careful with their Banelings.
Oh, he's getting surrounded. He got surrounded. Pretty good connect there. Taking out about half a Medivac's worth of Marines. Which, I mean, if you're able to do that against ByuN, that's already a bit of a victory in my eyes. But, yeah, ByuN should be able to make it out of there.
Oof. Yeah, he is, and you know what? The wall was a wall this time. He was able to raise his supply depot and made sure that the Ling run-by didn't get into any mineral lines, but now DRG, he's getting ready to push out across the map. He's got Lings, he's got Banes. 1-1 is done. Spire on the way.
And this is exactly what DRG wants to get into. This is DRG's, not quite his bread and butter, but it is kind of what he's known for. So many Lings and so many Banes. And where are the Marines, Light? Where are the Marines and where are the Middle Mines is my question.
They're dead. The Marines are dead. The Widow Mines is trickling out. Meanwhile, the majority of the SCVs did get picked up in the Medivacs, but everything is forced to be lifted up, and there could just be too much here from DRG. Like, this is kind of like...
DRG.
Yeah,
DRG already has the better army supply, really good snipes, but look at how many Banes there are, and look at how much of a surround they're getting. Really good surface area coming out, and now DRG continuing to rally his Zerglings in. He had quite a bit of momentum, but ByuN just enough inertia there to stop that push. But DRG, though, just getting ready for round 2.
Yeah, it goes to show that even though there was a nice round with those Lings, that you definitely need Banelings to contend with ByuN, especially when there are so many medevacs in the sky keeping them all alive. So ByuN was able to hold, but he did lose quite a number of workers, and he's on the back foot. Now DRG, his fire is done, his mutas are across the map.
Does ByuN have any missile turrets? Not in his natural. If he has some in his natural, he has a couple of Marines, and yeah, this early on in the game, a couple of Marines can still be pretty scary against that few, that small amount of mutas.
Yeah,
but that is not going to be sustainable for ByuN. Oh, good snipes.
Good snipes, but you know what? The Banelings, they crush through the depot line. They're getting into the minerals, and it looks like 8 SCVs go down. He's trying to get some more damage, but... Ooh.
Yeah, sniped from ByuN. And that was a pretty good hold. Now we'll see what ByuN is able to get done with that. He is starting to push out, but a little bit indecisive right now. A little bit thinking, you know, do I want to defend against the mutas, or do I want to push out with everything I've got? How much do I need to keep at home? Or do I want to just go all in?
Oh, yeah, it looks like he was a little bit out of position there, and the minimized do burrow.
So many mines. There are so many mines, and they get right on top of most of the Banelings, but there should still be enough here, at least when it comes to the sky. Beautiful connection for DRG, and that should just about be enough. Look at the army supply difference. I didn't even realize Drilling Claws was finished.
Drilling Claws wasn't even finished. +2 is still on the way as well, and there's just too much here from DRG. He just overwhelms ByuN. Gonna get a cancel on the 4th base, get into the mineral line once again. With the reinforcements, ByuN may have enough to hold on, but he's just lost so much in the process.
Indeed, he has. Trying his best to keep these SCVs alive, but you know, the mutas don't care. They just move right on in.
They
shooting from the sky.
Exactly, they don't care at all. 16 SCVs, even more SCVs going down.
GG is called. DRG gonna be taking that to the ace match. Whoo!
Oh boy. And yeah, like that entire like second half of that game, like ByuN was just on the back foot. It was just this weird, it was this odd timing that I think even caught you off guard, where DRG went across the map with like Ling Bane, and ByuN just didn't have a lot to defend. And then from that point on, like for the next 5 minutes, it was just ByuN trying to defend as best he can after losing so many SCVs at his third.
And granted, he did defend pretty well considering, but we got to the point where every time ByuN lost a Marine or lost anything, it hurt him so much more compared to DRG losing like 3 Zerglings or what have you.
Yeah, it got to the point where DRG was on 4 bases on like 70 drones, and he just kept sending like Ling Bane into the face of ByuN. And sure, ByuN would survive every time, but each one of his losses, as you said, just hurt so much more for ByuN.
Yeah, they were negligible at that point for DRG, but they continue to stack there for ByuN. And we do have some confirmation going on here, Light. I didn't want to look at this result. I did not want to look at it. But Armani took out Patience 2-1.
Ooh.
In that best of 3 will be up against Dark. Winner of that will be going up against Time, winning the semifinals. Whereas up here on Lightshade LE, we have our ace match between these 2 players. One of them is going up to face Rogue, and we'll see who it's going to be. Is it going to be the BlueZug spawning here in the bottom right-hand corner map, all the way in the bottom right-hand corner, representing the Afrika Freaks? Light, are you free?
Afrika TV.
The one true Dong himself, it is DongRaeGu.
And spawning in the top left-hand corner of Lightshade LE, we have the South Korean Terran player, the Red Terran, currently tied up 1-1 in this best of 3. Can the one-man army do it himself? Can he bring it home? It is ByuN.
Whew. All being decided on Lightshade, and Lightshade, a really long, hard to rush sort of map. I think we mentioned a couple of times. So we see DRG, he will be going for his hatch gas pool, and for ByuN, I'm keeping my eye on the top left-hand corner. I am super curious. Will he just decide, you know, on Lightshade, I may as well skip the Reaper? But no, that's not going to be the case. Still believes that DRG not one to be not somebody he can get complacent against.
Exactly, not one to be trifled with. As you know, the entire series against Solar, he just skipped the Reaper. He just gave up scouting. Essentially, he did his own thing, reliant on the fact that Solar was just gonna macro up and play standard. Not so much against DRG. He's not too certain about that, and I don't blame him. Like, we have seen DRG, go for these like big like 2-base roach timings and things of that nature.
You know what? I'm gonna look something up real quick on Wikipedia as I run the query, and yeah, this just about confirms my suspicions. ByuN and DRG have only faced one another in competitive matches twice in their entire career. Once in 2012 and once in 2020.
Wow.
So I feel like it's really just a case of, when you look at ByuN versus Solar, they played so much in 2015 and even 2020 that I feel like ByuN just got familiar with him, really understood him. Whereas with DRG, he may as well be clueless. He may as well just not know who DRG is. He may as well just be looking at this bracket and thinking, DRG, what is he, like a ladder hero? Like, I mean, I think I faced him on the ladder a couple of times, so like...
Yeah, it's pretty interesting that they kind of missed each other, especially because DRG, he was heavily in like the Pro League era. He was like competing in Pro League very often, on Spendo and things of that nature. Meanwhile, ByuN, he wasn't at all. He wasn't on the Kesper team. He was competing more in foreign events and GSL, and yeah, I guess they just missed each other. So interesting that they've only played each other twice, even though they've both been around since Wings of Liberty.
And then they both went to the military at different times, so it's like, oh... Okay. Yeah, not able to. Only now we get to see the convergence going down in Latva.
Mm-hmm. Exactly, and we'll see what happens from there, as so far we do see a pretty standard opener coming out here from ByuN, going for that 1-1-1. It's got the third CC on the way.
Yeah, this time not going to be any 3-rack shenanigans. Not going to be too marine heavy, as he even has the tech lab on his barracks, so should be looking to make use of that pretty soon. This is just about the most balanced, in my opinion anyway, the most balanced opening that Terran can go for. You have the option to be aggressive, but it's not as good for aggression as some of the other builds, and it's not as greedy as, say, 3cc before starport, but you're still going to be in a stable economic position.
I'm gonna ask you to delve into your memory banks in your brain, Yaku. So ByuN, he was obviously, he wasn't competing in the beginning of the year in the first 6 months. So because of that, I think he did miss out on the whole like 1-1-1 into BC meta. So I don't think I've seen him open up BCs before.
I'm with you there. He went to the military in I want to say third quarter of 2018. Yeah, third quarter of 2018. So. Yeah, you're right. He completely missed the meta. The BC meta.
Yeah, so honestly, I'm okay with this. Like, personally, I'm not too fond of 1-1-1 into BC. I mean, it transitions into mech really nicely. But yeah, ByuN, I don't believe I've seen him go for that. It may just not be, a build that he has available to him, that like he may have not just seen it at all, period.
Yeah, but either way, he's still getting a lot of damage done here. It has an armory, so has the option to turn this into Hellbats, but yeah, does not quite want to morph them in on top of these lings. Medevac's starting to get pretty low. Oh my lord, DRG, your commitment to macro just saved ByuN's medevac there.
Jesus Christ, he opted to inject instead of chasing that medevac, even though it stopped dead in its tracks. It could have gone down.
Man, that's how you can tell that DRG is he's just so committed to making sure that he's got his fundamentals, got his macro down before much else. I mean, he ran the calculation in his head. There were only 2 more Hellions in that medevac. What were they going to get done? Not too much damage. So may as well just inject, make sure he gets that larva.
Yeah, I guess so.
StarCraft 2 often is.
Yeah. I mean, he has his priorities straight, maybe, question mark. It's hard to say, but in the end, the medevac does get out. 6 drones went down, so honestly, those Hellions did an insane amount of damage, more than I thought they would.
Absolutely. Did not even have to, morph them into the Hellbats. And wait a minute. He canceled the armory earlier on. He was getting an armory and he canceled it. Because now he's just getting the armory.
Yeah, he is only just now getting his armory, you know, lining it up so that when 1-1 finishes, he can go straight into 2-2. Meanwhile, DRG is going across the map with a bit of a Ling run by, but there are Hellions here in position, so hopefully ByuN doesn't lose too much.
Yeah, we'll have to see what DRG decides to target on. Okay, not losing any SCVs here.
Oh, it does not. Meanwhile, ByuN, he was kind of playing with the devil there, like stimmed forward. Well, but he did see all the banelings in position, so he did back off. He's looking to try and drop to the north, which is where DRG is expanding to.
Yeah, just get whatever harassment damage he can get done. Spotter Viking, actually, such an MVP right now for ByuN. He got such a good look at DRG's army that was sort of congregating over there.
Yeah,
and, yeah. Now, I was just starting to say that we may be getting to the point where DRG, he is starting to really take the map control. You know, he's got his Mutalisk out, and on a map like Lightshade, as long as he's able to connect his creep, right, then it is going to be pretty hard for ByuN to take advantage of things like choke points or really much else, because it is such a wide, there's just so much open space on this map. It's really on ByuN to try and manipulate it as best he can to prevent getting surrounded and stuff.
Yeah, definitely. Honestly, I'm really impressed that ByuN was able to keep both of those medevacs alive. Like, I was like, oh my god, he's going to lose the drop, he's going to lose all the Marines and the medevacs, but he was able to keep them alive, keep them away from the mutas. But as you said, DRG, he has all the map control. It's going to be so difficult for ByuN to make any of these drops really work when DRG has these mutas out.
Indeed it will. So instead, just decides not to drop. Going straight for this push! You gotta bury your minds, ByuN! One of them already taken out before shooting its shot! There was some pretty good connections, but dare I say, not enough. Thor out right in time. It came out right from that factory. ByuN knows exactly what he's doing.
Jesus Christ, that was so close. The Widowmine shot went off on the mutas. Meanwhile, the Thor came out just in time, able to shoo them away. So yeah, nice. ByuN, he was able to defend. He was able to, you know, trade relatively well in the center of the map. Oh, even gonna get another Widowmine connection off.
He's gonna get a queen. He's gonna get a queen. Not quite, because the queen's at full energy.
Not quite, but you know what? Here comes the rest of this army again. Kind of lacking in Widowmines. There's only one here. There's a couple more that are going to meet up with the army. Hopefully this is enough for ByuN. The creep spread hasn't been too great here to the south. There's plenty of room here for ByuN to stutter back.
That definitely is. It is kind of double-edged sword, right? Of having these wide open spaces in the ZvT. Sure, you get a lot of opportunities to try to surround your Terran opponent, but the Terran player can always have a bit more opportunity to split, but this is a good surround! And the Banelings just about cleaning up here. DRG has lost a lot there, though, and ByuN, he still has an army looking to reinforce this.
Oh, he is, but again, those were the best Baneling connections he could have hoped for. So many Marines went down, but the question is, does DRG have many backup Banelings? Because ByuN, he is just rallying across the map, continuing to apply pressure here, continuing to push across the map, and the mutas, they're not here, it's just Ling Bane.
Yeah, oh, decent. Oh, that mine hit didn't even hit. That mine shot didn't even shoot.
Oh.
I believe that was a kill on that hatchery. And now ByuN is keeping up his momentum. I want to say that on a map like Lightshade, DRG, he has more opportunity, right? Just based on the base he's got up north, he's got more space and more room to breathe. But this is a lot of momentum ByuN is pushing out with.
Yeah, but you know what? There's a lot of creep as well, and I'm glad ByuN decided to turn around. Like, you do not want to go deep into creep, especially against what DRG has. He has to slowly chip away at the creep, slowly chip away at the tumors before he really commits to anything.
Yeah, slow and steady, kind of Terran motto, especially if you're playing mech, but not really going to be applying. My god, that Thor survived a lot.
Yeah, Jesus Christ.
Hard, yeah. I tend to underestimate Thor so much. I should start building more.
Thors, they're pretty good, especially against this kind of army composition, especially here on Lightshade, where you can kind of use them to in choke points, tank a lot of damage. Meanwhile, the mutas, again, they kind of get wasted here to the south. They couldn't really find anything. It's just, yeah, forced back.
Yeah, you can tell ByuN is not an all-army player, because he makes sure that his rallies back at home are still, you know, defending if need be. There's a Reaper in this army, though, so yeah, maybe not. Maybe he does use it every now and then. right, this is a massive fight, and there's a lot of room here for DRG to get surrounds. Not quite a lot of room for ByuN to split back to, but the bailing hit still not quite as effective as it was. Here comes the reinforcements for ByuN, and there aren't any bailings left right now, Light.
Oh, only a handful left. There are a couple of panic bailings being morphed in, and there are just a handful left for DRG, and that's really keeping ByuN back. That's really what's keeping DRG alive. Meanwhile, ByuN, he scans to the south, confirms another hatchery is being taken, and what's important is that DRG, so far, he's been able to keep his worker count alive. He has been able to defend, and ByuN hasn't really been able to get into the juicy heart of any of these hatcheries, only just picking away at the edges.
Yeah, I mean, DRG has not quite been able to build up that bank as he was forced to remake his units, but he is in a position where he can start building that bank, which is pretty important. Widow Mines hitting just about everything, including ByuN's own army. Jesus, that Thor is so bright red.
It is. It's so close to going down, and I was waiting for it. Here we go. The Ultras Cavern is done. We have Ultras on the way for DRG, and again, DRG, as you were saying, he doesn't have too much of a bank. He can't make too many Ultras as he just doesn't have enough gas.
Yeah, and ByuN, he has been building up his Marauder count behind this. He will be getting his 2-2 a lot quicker than DRG will, so that's a pretty big window over there for ByuN to continue his push. And ByuN, I mean, he is just continuing to be super aggressive. Beautiful mine hit. It seems like DRG may have just enough here with the defender's advantage. It is a little bit far right now for ByuN to reinforce this, but DRG saw the writing on the wall. GG is called, and ByuN making it to that semifinals. Meet Rogue. But the thing is, I was thinking of meet with an A. Oh, such a close series going down, and ByuN, I mean, he's really getting his TVZ being put to the test today.
Oh, yeah.
First going up against Solar, easily a top Zerg player in Korea, then against DRG, who was a very consistent player in Korea this year, and then against Rogue, who, I mean, with his GSL and with his IEM, I think it's hard to really dispute. Rogue was probably the best Zerg player in Korea this year.
Yeah, definitely. We may see more of ByuN's, as you were saying, more of his TVZ put to the test as he is going up against Rogue. He's really going through the gauntlet, right? First Solar, then DRG.
Yeah, imagine if he makes it to the finals where he faces. Why do I keep saying feet? Where he faces. I think something like something Freudian's going on here. Milk, don't take that out of context. Anyway. Imagine if he goes up into the finals where he meets his nemesis, easily one of the top Zerg players in our time. I'm, of course, talking about Armani.
Exactly.
Or Dark.
Of course, Armani or Time. We'll see. But or maybe.
Oh, a little bit of doubts coming on here.
We shall see, as at the moment the admins are just figuring out whether we should do the semi-finals at the same time or concurrently. As I mean, the upper semis is ready, so we're probably going to start with that. I don't know how long it will be for the lower semi-finals to get ready. I don't think anyone's in Dark versus Armani.
Nobody is. Shall we wait on that one, or?
We'll see. It kind of depends on what happens here. Yeah.
Emmett's still making a bit of a decision. He's saying that Rogue and ByuN are, ready to go ahead with their best of 5 semifinals.
That they are, and as they do their vetoes, I will of course ask you, Yaku, to try and get an intro ready. I don't know if you have any inspiration for what it could be, but yes, we do have to do that, and we were kind of saving it for Juanito for special, but unfortunately he did get knocked out earlier by Time, so yeah, we won't be able to cast him.